Yeah.
Get on the line to start hitting.
Okay. Oh, it's working. Had to check. Sometimes we have to move this out or back, but it sounds like the sound is coming. So we will get started here. We will. I'll ask council and our guests, if they so wish, we'll just bow our heads for a moment of silent reflection. Okay, thank you. All right, first item on the agenda here tonight is confirmation of the agenda. Is there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Okay, thank you. Just so the people out here know, we have about a little over 700 pages to deal with tonight, so we got to keep moving along. Motion here then that the Council Municipality of West Perth accept the agenda as presented. Moved by Councillor Banks, seconded by Councillor Rose. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That is carried. So before we get too far on in the meeting, I would ask Nick to come up, and you're going to introduce our newest employee. And then she's going to come out. I believe she told me she had about a 15-minute bio. So come on up, Nick.
Good evening, Mayor McKenzie and council. I would like to introduce Emily Jokas, our newest member of our staff, our community services coordinator. Please come forward, Emily.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Emily Jokas. I am the Community Services Coordinator for the Municipality of West Perth. I'm really excited to join your team and look forward to continuing through the summer season and into the winter season with you.
That's great. Anything further you want to add? That's great. But despite what you heard, it's not throwing you under the bus. So if you want to add anything, you can.
I think that's it for today.
Okay, good. Thank you and welcome aboard. Appreciate you. So we do have a presentation to deal with tonight, and kind of a unique one. Shows us how well we work together with our neighbors, and it goes back to 1876, I believe, and in the late 19th century, a time when fire insurance was both expensive and difficult to find in rural areas. Two farmers from Osborne and one from Hibbert created a mutual insurance company to help their neighbors find stability and peace of mind. Alec Duncan from Osborne and Robert Gardner, who has connections with Hibbert and lived on the Hibbert boundary at that time, launched the Osborne and Hibbert Mutual Fire Insurance Company in 1876 with a simple idea that continues to guide the company 145 years later: neighbors helping neighbors. Every policyholder is also a shareholder in the company, and the board of directors is elected from the policyholders. This not only creates an exceptional level of local accountability, it also entitles every policyholder to share of the company's profit. They have a mission to provide competitive insurance solutions that protect our policyholders and gives them peace of mind. And a vision statement: a better future for our community today. And the values that they have is communication. It's the heart and soul of our community-focused business. Cooperation, working together to provide quality service. Fairness is our commitment to you. Honesty and trust, the foundation of our relationships. Integrity, we focus on doing the right thing always. And respect is earned by the trustworthy actions. So at this time, I would like to call on Alec Gibson, Chair of the Board of Osborne and Hibbert Insurance, to come up, and we're going to present him with a certificate from the Municipality of West Perth. I think we're going to take a picture. Shot of us here. Oh, Lindsay's there. Okay, now we'll just grab it.
You've spent lots of, appreciate working with the municipality. We, a lot of profits give back as donations to this area. So, yes, no, that's all. Thank you. Very good.
Just so you know, we're spending a lot of money on any donation. Perfect. Oh, I'll give you the envelope here. Does anybody have a conflict of interest with anything on the agenda? Not now, Nicholas, eh? Okay. Oh. Counselor Duck.
I'm going to declare for the 4.2 Poppy Lane closure request. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. And just for information, Nicholas is also on the Osborne and Hibbert board. And I forgot to do it before then, so he still is on the board. All right, the next item to deal with is a report from Trish McNaughton, the BIA coordinator, with regards to Poppy Lane and a request to close that right away through there. So Trish, I know you're here somewhere.
Good evening, Mayor McKenzie and members of council. I am standing before you today because we are looking at requesting a full closure of Poppy Lane. We have approached council a few times over the last couple of years to make the request to close for a seasonal change, just to add something into the downtown that would provide visitors to stop and stay in our downtown a bit longer. So today we're moving forward with a request for a permanent closure so that we could set up a fixture in the space on a full-time basis that would change seasonally. So I'm just going to go through this PowerPoint with you. So tonight I'm presenting to you what we call the courtyard at Poppy Lane. So what is the business improvement area? So founded in 2009, the Business Improvement Area was established to foster collaboration and coordination among businesses in the downtown and throughout the municipality of West Perth. The BIA's purpose is to collectively promote downtown Mitchell and the surrounding area as a vibrant shopping and business destination for both residents and visitors. As outlined in our Constitution, all businesses located within the designated downtown boundary are automatically members of the BIA by virtue of their location. The BIA is a not-for-profit organization established for the main purpose of revitalizing the Central District of Mitchell. Our efforts are dedicated to ensuring a healthy economic environment for our community and making our downtown a better place to shop, dine, live, work, invest, and play. So who represents the BIA? Today, the Mitchell BIA represents approximately 90 member businesses. A designated BIA levy is collected through each member's property tax bill based on the property's commercial assessment. These funds are used exclusively for initiatives and projects approved by the BIA to support and enhance the downtown business community. In addition to its core membership, the BIA also represents 32 associate members located outside of the designated BIA boundary who participate by paying an annual membership fee. So these businesses, again, are outside of the boundary. They can choose to pay in because they see the value of the things that we're doing with the BIA. So what is the courtyard at Poppy Lane? The courtyard at Poppy Lane would be a welcoming place, the gathering space in the heart of downtown Mitchell, created by the Mitchell BIA to bring people together and support the vitality of the downtown core. Designated as a hub for community connection, the courtyard would host events, markets, and a variety of community programming that encourages residents and visitors to explore, shop, dine, and experience everything that downtown Mitchell has to offer. By creating an inviting destination in the downtown, the courtyard at Poppy Lane helps strengthen local businesses, fostering community engagement, showcasing the unique character of our downtown Mitchell. We're opening up sponsorship opportunities. So if there's businesses, families, again, businesses that aren't within the BIA boundary that would like to sponsor certain events or components within the space, that's what we're looking to add to this as well. So the courtyard at Poppy Lane would provide meaningful sponsorship opportunities that allows our local businesses, organizations, and community partners to invest directly in the vibrant public space while gaining visible recognition for their support. Sponsorship opportunities include permanent features such as Adirondack chairs, benches, planters, patio heaters, and other courtyard amenities, as well as support for seasonal flowers, programming, and community events. Each sponsorship may include live local music and buskers, artisans, farmers markets, holiday programming such as visits with Santa, and other activities that draw resident visitors to downtown Mitchell. These partnerships will help offset operating and programming costs while enhancing the visitor experience and encouraging increased activity in the downtown core. Some of our proposed events are in the next few slides here. So the summer at the courtyard, we would love to start the summer off with the first Friday markets. So this is something that some BIAs have been enacting into their events through their participation with the businesses. So first Friday markets is something we would like to feature. The first Friday of each month, possibly even starting as early as the spring next year until the fall when the weather is against us. We would invite local vendors to come in, have these markets, and people can shop and explore the downtown and stay a little longer. We have spoken with Zara Insurance. They are interested in partnering with us on a car show that we would host in the downtown. Now, our downtown is set up with decent angled parking that we could put the cars in and not have to close the main street. We could also consider having Main Street closed for the event so that there's ease of access for visitors alike to be able to cross the street, view the cars, and have no concerns about traffic. A community dinner at the courtyard at Poppy Lane. So community dinners are becoming a really popular item within BIAs. So it could be something as simple as people are bringing their own meals downtown, they're shopping downtown, staying in the space, eating at the picnic table with friends and family. So this is an event that we would like to potentially try. Then we go to fall at the courtyard, sorry. Again, these artisan markets and farmers type markets are, again, a big feature that a lot of BIAs are doing. So we would welcome artisans from all over the community while ensuring that the products that are being sold at these markets don't compete with our businesses downtown. There may be some overlap, but for the most part, our hope is that these will be artisans, things out of the ordinary, things that people don't have in their stores. And then we would look at doing a fall vendor market as well, and have some fall decor, maybe a pumpkin carving station. We could do a light up of the pumpkins at night, different options there. Winter at the courtyard. So we already do a few of these items now. So the downtown lighting of the lights is something that we've done. We partnered last year with the community services at the parks, and we helped with the lighting of the lights at the parks. And then we want to carry that through right to Poppy Lane. So we would be looking at potentially decorating the bridge that leads from the parks up to Poppy Lane, decorating the downtown and Poppy Lane so that the nice lights flow all through. It's a nice visual at Christmas time. Then we've got the Lions Christmas Parade that happens. So Tim Hortons always sets up, they have for the last 3 years, set up in Poppy Lane and handed out hot chocolate and Timbits for free. And they've ran out every year, so that's been a success. Also the Christmas outdoor vendor market, again, another option that we'd like to do. And visits with Santa. So we would like to hire a Santa for a few weeks in a row, offer different time slots where people could come out and just meet Santa, sit with him. And then costume characters. So these are fun little social media bits that some BIAs have been doing. So we would look at maybe connecting with some high school students that would be interested in some community service hours, get them decorated with, elf costumes or maybe a mini Santa and Mrs. Claus. And they would pop up sort of all around the town, and we would make it a photo opportunity that you could post on socials. Spring at the Courtyard, we'd like to be a station downtown that people can also pick up garbage during the cleanup days that the municipality is partnered with the Thames River on. When the Kin Club has their rubber ducky race, we would look at maybe doing an event that, we'd set up some rubber ducks downtown, have people come downtown and find those ducks. A young entrepreneur market, again, this is something that a lot of BIAs are doing. Just kind of getting young people excited about selling and owning a business and being an entrepreneur and getting involved in their community. So this is another fun event that we feel we could get people in Mitchell to do as well. And then the first Friday market. So again, the option to start in the spring, late spring, just weather pending. Collaborative programming. So there's an opportunity to program with a bunch of different organizations in the community. We have a lot of musicians in the community, including some students that are coming up and learning at Skyline Studios, and lots of bands and single performers within the town that we could have downtown busking. The West Perth Public Library, they've used the space. We did 3 story time readings with them last year with 12 people in attendance at 2 of the events with hot chocolate and Timbits sponsored by local businesses that we gave out. The West Perth Youth Center held their end of year party in the space last year. They loved it. It was a bit cool. We could use some outdoor heaters, but they had a lot of fun in the space. They've also contributed by making the candy canes that are in the space. So they got engaged and were excited about it. The West Perth Community Outreach Group in the West Perth Village, also another option. We could tailor some events towards seniors. The West Perth Recreation Department, again, they have a lot of great programming and a lot of up and coming programs that we could connect with them on as well. Same with Mitchell Outreach, the Perth County Economic Development, our local service clubs, which are a vital part of our community. And the Perth County OPP have had some events too that we could host in the space. So the possibilities are endless. This doesn't list everybody. There's a ton of people out there that have expressed interest in collaborating together. So we'll see where things go. Next year, I've got a little bit of a business plan. So I think that some of the uneducated information is that people feel that their taxpayers' money may be going towards this project. However, the money would be from our BIA levy. And we would like to use the space and bring in things like markets and sponsorship opportunities that would be revenue generators for us. So our BIA since 2009 has never increased our levy. We've kept it at the rate it has been since inception. We've never broached that subject with our businesses. So in order to keep the levy where it is, but provide lots of programming and a way to generate some revenue, we would propose these markets. So all of the markets that I just spoke about, we have the ability in the space to put up approximately 12 vendors. And if we charge them $45 a booth, which is about the going rate of joining these markets, we would have revenue of $540. So that's per market that we would hold. Each vendor would be required to complete a vendor registration form, comply with all Huron Perth public health requirements, pay their registration fees in advance of each event, and we would offer a one no-charge booth space for the first Friday market to a BIA member. So that BIA member would be drawn at random so that everybody has the equal opportunity to get that free space. So we have gone down the road of starting a vendor form, like the vendor registration form for the markets, just so that we can sort of be prepared and have that bolstered. Sponsorships, so the Courtyard at Poppy Lane Committee, which would be an extension of the Downtown Mitchell BIA, would solicit sponsorships for placed components, character appearances, and events. Sponsorship details would be determined prior to the grand opening of the courtyard. So we have already started a bit of a sponsorship package with different components and what they would cost in the event that businesses would like to say, purchase a bench, and we would get a nameplate put on there so that you can see that it's sponsored by whatever business. So there's different sponsorship opportunities. You could also sponsor the entrepreneur market. So you could pay to cover all the fees for all of the young entrepreneurs coming into the space. Possibilities are endless. Funding. So all monies that are collected through the usage of the courtyard at Poppy Lane would be used to offset the purchase of additional components, entertainment, and collaborative programming or other BIA initiatives. So again, we would want to use the space as a revenue generator since our budget is very small compared to other BIAs around. So a lot of the funding would, again, be put back into the space to purchase extra items in the space or to hold events where potential sponsorship wasn't covered. So some of the issues that came up with the closure the past couple years are some concerns that have come forward through various conversations with businesses or members of the public. I've addressed on this slide. So garbage. The cleanliness of the space will be maintained by the BIA. The operations department has confirmed that they'll maintain the garbage can that's going to be within the space. So that should alleviate the garbage issue. Snow removal. Well, snow has been challenging the last 2 years. Staff are in talks with local contractors to obtain quotes on snow removal for the area. We want to ensure that the space is safe to enjoy, but also some snow to be in the space as it adds to the ambiance of the Christmas season. So we know that the last 2 years have probably been records amount of snowfall, which has been challenging for various reasons. And we want to work with somebody to make sure that the space is properly cleaned up and accessible. So that is in the works. I do have a couple of quotes, so we'll work towards that. Parking, the space has been utilized by residents to park and pass through. However, this piece of municipal land is not a designated roadway or designated parking. With the closure of Poppy Lane, we would be adding parking spaces in front of the current entrance. So in speaking with the operations department, we should be able to get approximately 3 standard parking spaces in front of Poppy Lane. I did express that there may be a need for another accessible spot, although there is one currently to the right of the entrance of Poppy Lane. But there could be an option to put a second one in. It would just reduce the amount of standard spaces that we could put in. So that's still sort of in flux as to what the final plan will be with that. So who supports this project? So we did go around and connect with members of the BIA, so businesses. We went into businesses, myself and a couple other members on the board. And then we also connected via email, via a Google form. And so this chart demonstrates the different businesses. So we currently have 76 downtown businesses, 25 of which support this project. 7 are not supportive. 3 of them feel it doesn't affect their business. None of them had said that they were undecided or wanting more information. And then we had 41 businesses that did not respond to inquiries. So that could have been too that when we went to the business, because they have irregular hours, we were unable to get in. So that's why myself, after standard hours, and other board members who could go earlier in the day, we tried at different times. So that was a bit of a challenge. We have 32 associate members. So we have received 6 that are in support, 1 that's not supportive, 1 does not feel affected, 1 that was undecided and wanted more information. So I did speak with that associate member. They understood what we were trying to do, and they do feel that it would be beneficial in the downtown. They did express some concerns about, why wasn't space considered elsewhere? The main purpose behind having the courtyard at Poppy Lane is we want to have something in the downtown. We want to draw people to the downtown to come and shop, eat, and stay longer. And that's been something that has decreased since COVID. So that person was spoken with, and then we had 23 associates that did not respond. And then we have 14 vacant places. So those vacant spaces could be because there's no longer a business in the space, or we have some assessed BIA levy members that are parking lots of the business. So they are a separate assessment. They pay into it, but there's no actual business on the parking lot. And then listed below are 20 businesses that we received letters of support from, which I believe have been given to council for consideration. And then I just want to say thank you to Mayor McKenzie and the members of council for your time and consideration on this project. It's truly become a passion project for myself and members of our board. We do strongly feel that it would benefit the downtown. We do understand some of the public concerns, but we do want to, move forward with something that would make the downtown not so bland and draw people in. And then thank you to the businesses and members of the public who provided their support either in favor or against, and any concerns that were also provided. So now I'll open it up for any questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Trish. I guess just before I open it up for council for questions, just a little bit of clarification where we want to go here. And I know we've all received emails, both for and against. So I think we can accept that as information. This is not a public meeting. However, it is your meeting. If you wish to open it up for comments, we could, but it wasn't listed as a public meeting, so I keep that in mind. So I guess I'm looking for a little bit of guidance how you'd want to go. Councillor Foster?
I think if the public is passionate enough that they came and evidently appear that they would like to speak, that we could open the floor to them for a brief time to air some concerns if they have them, or their support.
And what do you call a brief time, Alex? Remembering that we have over 700 pages to go through here tonight.
Maybe 30 seconds or like very brief.
Okay, all right.
Would that make sense?
Yep. We'll open it up, I think, here for questions from council first, though, okay? And we'll go from there. So are there questions from members of council? Councillor Phelps?
One question. Poppy Lane is an alley and it's not designated parking, but we've never enforced it. Is that correct? That we haven't had bylaw write tickets because they're illegally parked? I know there's no signage there, but it's the same as the alley between the Hicks house and the pizza place was Godfather's, but Ruffridge's. Just clarification on that.
Yeah, no, thank you through the chair. No, historically, by law enforcement has not issued tickets to individuals who have been parked there. So historically, that's not been a practice here at West Perth.
Is it parking?
Through the chair, no, my understanding is not designated as a legal parking area at this time within our parking bylaw.
Anything else, Doug?
No.
Okay. You can shut your mic off then.
Right.
Other questions?
Maybe just a comment rather than a question. I think it's a great idea. Everything that you've suggested seems like a great idea, but I feel closing it permanently will turn into another underutilized space. And I'm wondering if it's just something we could close Friday to Sunday, the odd Wednesday, if that's what you want. But closing it permanently, I just feel that it's going to get forgot about and nobody's gonna come and use it.
Trish.
So my question back then to council would be is if we change the plan and close it on weekends or a Friday or a Wednesday here and there, do I have to approach council every time we want to close that space to do an activity?
Counselor O'Donnell again.
I guess just follow up with that, maybe just set out a schedule for us at the start of the year and this is your plan, these are the days it'll be closed and go from there.
Okay. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, your worship, through you. Thanks, Trish, for your presentation. I'll start off with, I got like primarily two questions. So the first one, if this is a public space, where does the public access washrooms and running water? As well as where do they access an AED device in case of emergency? That's my first set of questions.
So when it comes to these markets, we would consider, if applicable, if it's drawing in a lot of people, we could look at renting an outhouse like we did for the 150 for the space. If necessary, we could also look at hiring St. John's Ambulance to come in to be on hand, or speak with the fire department about accessing an AED during that time.
Okay, second question, the costing. In the financial section, you list a bunch of items with some cost ranges, but I don't really see an exhaustive list of items required and a more exact list of what the cost will be. Like you mentioned in your presentation, planters, heaters, Adirondack chairs, snow removal, but I don't see any of that in your financial plan. So it looks incomplete at this point. So the other question is this money coming solely from BIA members, or at some point will the municipality be expected to financially support this?
So our current discussion that I've had with the board, we're looking at having an arch installed at the entrance, which we've spoke with the Legion about, and they're in favor of. It's like a black metal arch that would be anchored in the planters. It would have the logo, the courtyard at Poppy Lane, so that we still give an ode to the space. That we would be looking, or I have asked the board to consider that comes out of our budget since it is our project. I've just received quotes recently for the snow removal and I'm still in talks on that. So that's undetermined at this time. I do have pricing on hand as part of the sponsorship packages that we've started for benches, picnic tables, a new garbage can. So that's not here tonight, but I'm happy to provide it if necessary. Again, we want to speak more with businesses. There have been some that have shown interest about sponsoring items in the space. So we would like to see who would like to sponsor and what those sponsorships look like prior to committing to the BIA putting more money towards it. Again, most of the items in there are going to be paid for by the BIA. This is a BIA initiative. So as part of our budget and the revenues that we would earn in the space, it should eventually, in a couple of years' time, I believe, we would have some more money in the bank that we can be purchasing more for the space. We've also had some businesses that are wanting to jump on board at no charge, so there's that to consider too.
I guess I haven't heard an answer, a yes or no, if the municipality ratepayers are going to be expected to contribute to this project.
My apologies, I missed that part of the question. As of right now, it's not anticipated that general taxpayers would pay. Again, the operations department will empty the garbage can, which they're already downtown emptying garbage cans. So they felt that one more could be part of the mix. I can stand here today and just say that I can't confirm for sure that the municipality will not need to put any money towards this, but that is not the intent as I stand here today. The intent is that we would use the BIA levy. And along with the businesses that have already committed to components in the space, we would work on sponsorships so that it wouldn't affect the general taxpayers of the municipality.
Thank you.
Other questions from council members? Councillor Belts again?
Not a question, but comments and, the BA wants to try something, creating a common community, supporting our little retail that's left, downtown struggling. I've looked at the posts, the letters, the access to the post office and parking seem to be the big concerns. And actually, we're going to gain parking in front of the driveway instead of lose it because the laneway never was parking, but we didn't enforce it. Access to the post office for senior, the ramp to the entry is closer to St. Andrew Street than it is to the parking space. 8 parking spaces at the post office are coming up from the main street. You have to walk right across the front of the building anyways. Also, I don't know how many times I've been caught in Main Street heading east and somebody makes a left-hand turn into Poppy Lane between 3 and 6 o'clock and you sit there and you sit there and you sit there because of light changes. And then you get the waivers that the guy wants to turn and the guy going straight through is going like this and they play the car chase game, who's going to go. And the guy that's turning left is in the wrong, but it causes congestion in the downtown. Canada Post website stated since 2006, mail has dropped as high as 70% in areas. They lost $205 million in the first 3 months of this year. They're moving away from door-to-door and post office service, moving towards community mailboxes, focusing on large urban centers immediately, and moving down to the smaller ones. And we will probably see in our lifetime that post office close because they can't afford to keep doing business the way they are. Recent postal disruptions with strikes, they choose the best times to go on strike and then they can't figure out why they can't get the business back. Favorite comment was council has made up their mind already. BIA has come here in October 2024, November 2020, no, October 2024, November 2024, October 2025, and July in 2026. So this has been going on for 2 years and there just seems to be an uproar. Now, all of a sudden, this has just been in the works and transition. I would hope that this council sitting here has given this some thought, being as they've been here 4 times. Look at the pros and cons and listen to the posts. Many downtown areas in Ontario and abroad are designated common areas to socialize for visitors. As I travel all over the provinces and I see Elora, Procorp, Hope, Coburg, just to name a few, they have beautiful downtown designated areas for employees and visitors and whoever to have a coffee or lunch or just sit there and people watch. I think it would be a great asset, but looking at the winter as our test, that the worst winter we've had in probably 7 years wasn't a good. Somebody said you didn't even see footprints in there. Well, I didn't see footprints in my driveway a half hour after I come home this winter. So, you know, to be fair, I think it should be a trial for maybe a couple of years, a permanent trial, because we can always open it again. We aren't ripping out the curbs. We aren't ripping out the ramp. We aren't making, you know, the paint for the horizontal parking spots. Give the BIA an opportunity to enhance the downtown. And, you know, change is hard. And I think we should support the BIA and you should support the downtown businesses. There's still 2 accesses to the post office, Quebec Street, St. Andrew Street. And it's still far easier to get out there than it is to back up on Main Street because our traffic just keeps getting busier and busier downtown. So I think transition's easy and I say, give them a try. That's the only way we'll know. And in 2 years, you can stand there and tell Trish, I told you so it wouldn't work, but at least we tried something downtown. Or we could start a toll booth for the Amazon trucks coming into town and we could support the downtown, but that ain't gonna happen. So that's my piece. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Doug. Anybody else on council? I had one question, and I guess I'm looking maybe more for a comment, Trish. on this. Several of the emails that we got, and I assume you probably got a copy of them as well, maybe, but they talk about utilizing space elsewhere, and some mentioned about the information center, and I assume that's what they were referring to when they said space elsewhere. Any comment on that?
So part of the BIA's prime responsibility is to enhance the downtown. And so while, people said Morenz Park or the Welcome Center are different options where we could have had this, I disagree. I think that Poppy Lane is an ideal place because it's right in our downtown core. Businesses have been struggling. We have lost a lot of businesses. New ones have come in, but we still have a lot of vacant spaces downtown. If we opened this in the downtown core, it would draw people in. People want to go and grab Pizza Hut for supper. They can go sit at the courtyard. If we purchase the picnic tables with chess piece on top, people can play chess and eat pizza. We're trying to bring people into the downtown. A lot of the comments we're getting from businesses is that they are struggling. A lot of people are purchasing by Amazon because it comes to your door. They don't have to fight the downtown parking. We want to see this in the downtown. It makes the most sense, and there's other BIAs that have done this that, again, it makes sense. It would be closed to vehicular traffic only. We want you to walk the space. We want you to enjoy it and participate in the components that are there, in the events that we would host. It would just be closed to vehicles. I'll also note, just off of Doug's comment, the arch that we would install, we're going to make it big enough that a vehicle could get under there should, this maybe not work in a couple years and we do need to open it, or to get a vehicle in there to facilitate proper snow removal. So we've got those sort of fail safes in place as of now.
Okay, thanks, Trish. I'm looking around. Now Alex has made the comment, or Councillor Foster, that to open it up. I'm looking at if everybody is okay with that. I think, certainly we don't want to drag on here for an hour or anything, but I'm not sure with the group that's out here, if there's a couple spokesmen that would maybe have a comment or a question. We could certainly entertain that. And we'll give you, a bit of time if you so wish. As I said earlier, it's not a public meeting, but we're willing to bend the rule a little bit here. So I don't know if there's anybody out there that would like to say a few words or a comment or a question. Put your hand up, come on up to the microphone, tell us who you are so we can record it in the minutes, and we'll go from there. Don't all come at once. I'm gathering then by the response that everybody seems to be okay with what has been said so far. So it brings for us to deal with, basically, I think we've got three options that we can do with here. We can certainly support the recommendation that's in our agenda. You can deny the recommendation that's in the agenda, or you can defer for some further information if you want staff to look into anything further. So if there is no further questions from council or audience, I would look forward to a motion at this time. Councillor Foster.
We've delegated this authority to the BIA. This has been their proposition. I would think we should if we have committees, we should be taking their advice and trying to follow it. So I would be in support of the motion and would move it forward to close Poppy Lane.
Okay, so noted. Moved by Councillor Foster. We need a seconder. Seconded by Councillor Phelps. Discussion. Anything further? Councillor Fournier.
If it doesn't work out, through your worship, of course, if it doesn't work out as a trial project, what sort of financial implications are we looking at to reverse our choices? It's not just going to be paint, obviously, if they're putting in an arch. Like, do we need to have a bit more information about what removing that sort of thing, if it needs to be removed at some point, 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now?
Trish can answer that, I guess.
So in speaking with the person that's going to make the arch, it's going to be built up high enough that the arch could stay in its place. So although it would, I guess, still say the courtyard at Poppy Lane, it still would be okay to stay in the space if you so choose, because it would be built high enough that a car could still travel under it. It would just, I guess, have the courtyard piece on it. So maybe if you chose to keep it up, we could look at the cost of replacing the top part that has the logo on it.
I guess my comment would be, you know, if by chance this didn't work, you could still leave the arch there. It's still going to be Poppy Lane, you know. And there, you know, courtyard might be a little different, but it'd still identify the area as long as, you know, vehicles can get underneath. I guess that would be my comment. Any further discussion on this? Oh, Deputy Mayor?
No, thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, I've gone to several BIA meetings, including the AGMs, and as Councillor Phelps has pointed out, this subject's been brought back numerous times, and I'm still not convinced. It's the right idea, but I'm still not convinced of the location. And I've mentioned that before at a previous council meeting. I'm not satisfied with the financial information that's been presented tonight. It's lacking details. I'm not totally comfortable with the washrooms and the running water situation, as well as the AED situation. My own observations on this space is that it's people use it for post office access. I use it. A lot of seniors use it. Even the building owner adjacent to the lane was using it for a week, repainting or repointing the mortar with the Zoom Boom machine. So, and the sponsorship target information or the sponsorship information, I'd like to see more of that as it stands right now. But if I have to make a decision right now, I'm not convinced of the plan yet. And I'm not supportive of closure at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Deputy Mayor. Any other comments? Go ahead.
If we do find ourselves making decision, then I would request through you to the clerk for a recorded vote, please.
Why did I have a feeling you were going to do that? Last call for questions. Okay, clerk?
Thank you. Through you, and if it's okay with you, Chair, I'll restate the motion that's on the floor for voting at this time. The motion which has been moved and seconded is that the Council of the Municipality of West Perth approve the request from the Downtown Mitchell BIA to permanently close Poppy Lane effective August 1st, 2026. What I'll do here in a moment is we'll go around the horseshoe and I'll call your name, not necessarily in order. I'll go in order of what I have you listed on the sheet here. I'll ask you to either say yes or no when I call your name. We'll go from there and announce the results of the vote following that. So I'll begin with Councillor Rose. Councillor Foster. Councillor Fournier.
Can I ask one question before? I'm sorry. If the motion says permanently closed, can we look at changing that to closed on a trial basis? Permanently closed is a bit different.
Clarification from the clerk, I guess.
I'm really
The
torn.
motion is what it is.
Thank you. Through the chair. So the motion on the floor is as stated. So at this time, we cannot make an amendment to that motion. Unless, well, no. The voting has commenced. Through the chair, voting is commenced. We cannot make a change at this time. Thank you.
In that case, against.
Deputy Mayor Trentowski,
No.
Mayor McKenzie,
No.
Counselor Phelps,
Yes.
Counselor Vink,
Yes.
Counselor Chessel,
Yes.
Counselor O'Donnell.
No.
Five. So
The motion carries on a motion, recorded vote of 5-4.
Okay, very good. And I neglected at the start of the meeting to mention that Councillor Harold is away tonight and he was unable to participate either by Zoom or in person. So that's the results of the vote, 5-4. So yes, we will get Ryan. And of course, Councillor Duck declared a conflict of interest, so he wasn't participating in this as well. So, okay. 2-minute recess? Sure. Okay. Yep. Yep. We can take a 2-minute recess here.
We move up just before this public.
Sure.
That drain item.
Yes, we can move that up.
We just got them here.
Whether you-
Be real quick.
Yeah.
Item 7.2.
Do the drain. I even wondered about
Yeah.
roofs are here too for
Yeah.
that 7th. So with council's permission, I would like to move a couple of the items around on the agenda here tonight. We do have to deal with a drain, and then we have a couple of planning matters to deal with as well. So I would like to move trying to find the drain here now, James.
Through your worship, it's item 7.2.1.
Oh, I'm not on the right page, that's why. Okay, there we go, yeah. 7.1.2, no, that's the 0.1. No, that's not it either. Oh, 7.2.1, sorry. The Vaness Dill Drain. And we do have the engineer here for that. We have Brandon Widener here from Spreetz to deal with that. So if, with your permission, we'll move that to the front and deal with that, and then we can address that and then come back to the agenda. So with your permission, Brandon will let you have the floor, and you can deal with this drain.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Tonight we have a new drain.
Can you push the button on your mic, please?
On now. So tonight we have a new drain for the township. It's a section 4 drain. It's near the community of Cromarty. It's on line 21. A number of years ago, we did a drain just north of this, the Miller Drain. But this was a new drain. It was requested by a landowner named John Vaness, hence the name. We have a 3-owner project here. We have the Dills, the Vanesses, and the Verhoogs, who operate under Sutton Holsteins. We had a meeting on this project May 6th. Rather small project. The owners were in attendance, and we had another landowner meeting in early June. I'm in the township office here, but it is a rather small drain. It outlets into what is the McMillan Drain open ditch, but it's approximately 21-inch concrete tile up and across the road. There is a road bore associated with this project on line 21, which is the township's cost. And then there's some smaller tile upstream. The drain's just under 1 kilometer long. Total cost of the project, approximately $150,000. Like all our reports, it's laid out the same way. There's an assessment to the municipality for this, for the road crossing. That's about it. There's 2 landowners, or 3 landowners, I should say. Everyone's been informed as we went through the process, but I'm happy to answer any questions if there is any.
Okay, thanks, Brandon. Any questions from members of council? Don't see any hands going up. So we do have a recommendation here to deal with this request. The recommendation is that the Council Municipality of West Perth accepts the report dated June the 5th from Spread Associates for the Vaness Dill Drain, and that council provisionally adopt the engineer's report by giving first and second reading to bylaw 41, 2026, and that the quarter revision be scheduled for August the 10th, 2026. Oops, sorry.
We should ask if there's any questions from the public.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Any questions from the public? Ask now or forever hold your peace. No, I don't see any hands going up, so I think we're good. Okay. And any questions from council? So I've read the motion. Do we have a mover and seconder to that? Councillor Vink, and it's a Hibbert drain, by the way. Okay, Councillor Foster. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That is carried. Thanks, Brandon. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll go back then to our agenda. 5.1 is a public meeting. And I do have a sheet for that as well. Okay, at this time, I'll call the public meeting to order at 8:03 p.m. And I would ask our clerk, James Hudson, for the purpose of this public meeting.
Well, thank you. Through your worship, the purpose of this public meeting is to allow interested members of the public the opportunity to ask questions or offer comments about proposed amendments to bylaw 100/1998, being the zoning bylaw, which is affecting properties known as 7451 line 32, 5545 line 55, and part lots 71 and 74. If any member of the public would like to be notified in writing of the decision made by council, we ask that you provide your name, mailing address, and email to clerk@westperth.com. Thanks. I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you. So as was stated, this is a public meeting for a zoning bylaw amendment. Application submitted by Milady Acres Limited on behalf of Dan and Rhonda Nolan. I will now call upon John Bice, planner for the County of Perth, to review the application and present any correspondence received. So John, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor McKenzie and council. So this zoning bylaw amendment application is located at the Red Star, 7451 line 32 in West Perth, south of St. Columban. So a quick summary, the application proposing to rezone the subject lands from the agricultural zone A and the special agricultural zone A2 to a special agricultural A-62 zone to facilitate the construction of a principal dwelling associated with an agricultural operation. So the subject lands are designated agriculture. I forgot to put the red star on this slide, but it is the property directly in the middle. So if we just locate it on this property and then we go back, we can see that the property is designated agricultural in the Perth County Official Plan. The subject lands are within a primary aggregate resource as per Appendix 1 of the Perth County Official Plan. A single detached dwelling is permitted as accessory to an agricultural use in the agriculture designation in the Perth County Official Plan. Subject lands are zoned, like I previously stated, A and A2 in the West Perth zoning bylaw. The A2 zone specifically limits uses to only agricultural uses and specifically restricts the construction of new dwellings. This restriction was put in place to protect potential sand and aggregate deposits identified through that appendix of the Perth County Official Plan. So the new PPS made a change to the way single detached dwellings are perceived in prime agricultural areas. And it now states that in prime agricultural areas, permitted uses include a principal dwelling associated with an agricultural operation as specifically an agricultural use. So therefore, the provisions of the A2 zone are therefore considered outdated when we're considering this prohibition regarding new single detached dwellings in West Perth's A2 zone. Just again, for a bit more context, the West Perth zoning bylaw allows for agricultural uses in the A2 zone, but it does specifically restrict single detached dwellings currently. One thing to note as well, the PPS doesn't include additional residential units within the same context as a principal dwelling associated with an agricultural operation. Therefore, ARUs are not considered agricultural uses. So Perth County Planning has a recommendation to add a specific restriction on additional residential units or supplementary farm dwellings, simply because there was no aggregate impact assessment submitted. And since the province considers ARUs not an agricultural use and a single detached dwelling an agricultural use, Perth County Planning believe that the project is supportable, as all that's being proposed currently is the single detached dwelling. This image just shows the black star is where the property is, and it shows the context of where the aggregate deposit is, just for some context. Planning staff circulated the application as per the requirements of the Planning Act, and we have received no comments from members of the public. I can take any questions.
Okay, thanks, John. Is there anybody here, either by the applicant or an agent? Right. Oh, do you wish to add anything further? No, we're good? Okay. Then is there anybody in attendance that wishes to speak in support of this application? Is there anybody wishing to speak in opposition to this application? Okay, and then finally, any questions, general comments or questions from members of council? Okay, I don't see anything. Anybody with their hands up? Okay, very good. All right, so we'll move on to the next one, and this is zoning bylaw ZN3 2026, and it's a zoning bylaw amendment application submitted by Martin, Stephen, and Philip Kipfer. And I'll now call upon John again, planner for the county, to review the application and present any correspondence received.
Thank you, Mayor McKenzie. This zoning bylaw amendment application is located in the north end of West Perth. It's located to the east of Moncton. It's 5545 Perth line 55. So a quick summary, application is proposing to permit the establishment of a 300 feeder goat operation, which is about 9.4 nutrient units, as an accessory use to the residents. The application also proposes to reduce the MDS2 separation distance for the manure storage from the nearest lot line, which in this case is the rear yard, from 9 meters being required down to 3 meters. And then finally, the application is proposing to allow the continuation of the existing site-specific zoning provision that was established a few years ago, just to allow for the existing old barn essentially to be located 3 meters from the rear lot line. So the property in this image is located, it's the small property located on the Perth south side of Perth line 55 there. These lands are designated agricultural in the Perth County Official Plan. The subject lands are zoned special agricultural A-1 subscript 10 in the West Perth zoning bylaw. And this special zone establishes that the only uses, buildings, and structures permitted on the land shall be a non-farm residential use in the form of a single detached dwelling. The site-specific nature of this zone, again, is just to deal with a reduced rear yard setback. So just for some council information, the subject property was created by means of surplus farm dwelling severance, file number B45-23. As a condition of this severance, the property was rezoned via zoning bylaw amendment file Z 06-2024. And this was to recognize the residential use on this severed property. At the Land Division Committee meeting, the committee granted permission for the existing livestock barn to remain on the severed residential property. At the time of the rezoning, the owners did not apply to permit livestock on the severed residential parcel, and a change of use permit was obtained by the owners as a condition of consent to prohibit livestock from being housed in the barn. The change of use permit was a requirement of the consent application, as the intent behind creating the lot was for residential purposes. The change of use permit, just for some more context, ensures the barn is used appropriately and not for livestock, as the severance was intended to create was not intended to create an undersized agricultural parcel. The Perth County official plan outlines that non-farm residential lots, which the subject lands are considered, shall not permit livestock operations. However, local zoning bylaws may permit limited non-commercial raising of livestock as an accessory use. The Perth County official plan does not define this term non-commercial. However, Merriam-Webster's definition of non-commercial is not occupied raising, non-commercial raising of livestock, which is not occupied with or engaged in commerce. So some examples of non-commercial livestock, just for reference, would include a few goats, horses, a couple llamas, chicken coop, or some rabbits. Typically, these are considered hobby, and they're not for financial gain. It is the opinion of planning staff that the 300 feeder goat operation is a commercial agricultural operation. As the operation is considered a commercial one, the proposal does not conform with the Perth County official plan. The establishment of the 300 goat operations would have the effect of circumventing the PPS, as the lot would be used for agricultural purposes, and the severance to establish the property should have been assessed under agricultural lot creation policies in the PPS and Perth County official plan. The county did not assess the planning merits of an undersized agricultural parcel at the time of consent, nor would it have been supportable. As the proposed zoning application is seeking the establishment of a commercial agricultural operation, the application is an attempt to circumvent the PPS and county policies. Staff recommend that West Perth Council deny the application. This is just an image of the barn. Planning staff sent the application out for comments, but no comments were received from members of the public. We're recommending denial at this time, but I can take any questions.
Okay, thanks again, John. Is there anybody here representing the applicant? Don't see anybody. Okay. Is there anybody present wishing to speak in support of this application? Is there anybody in opposition to this application? Finally, any general comments or questions from council? Deputy Mayor.
Thanks, Your Worship, through you. Thanks, John, for the presentation. So did I hear correctly, a change of use permit has been processed? And that change of use permit deems that commercial livestock, or that the building is not to be used for commercial livestock? Am I understanding that correctly?
Through you, Warden, absolutely, that's correct.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. And I'm going, oh, sorry, Councilor Phelps, sorry.
Just refresh my memory, but when we did the severance there, I think the subject came up about the buildings being too good to tear down, and if it would be good for a commercial business or something, and that was on the kind of the stipulation or the mindset we were. But 300 goats isn't a hobby, and there's a whole issue, I think, of an environmental plan there somewhere too, isn't there? But that's neither here nor there. But that was the one, right? Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to deviate a little bit before we go to the next zoning application. We do have recommendation for the first two, and we'll deal with that. So the first one is that Municipality of West Perth approve zoning 5-2026 as modified by staff to affecting lands legally described as the east part lot 27 concession 3 Hibbert in the municipality of West Perth. Moved by Councillor Vink, seconded by Councillor Fournier. All those in favor? Opposed, if any, that's carried. And then the next one is recommendation is that the municipality of West Perth deny application zoning 3-2026 affecting lands legally described as part lot 4 concession 16 Logan Part 1 Plan 44R 6220 in the municipality of West Perth, and that the reasons for denial include that the zoning bylaw amendment is not consistent with the provincial planning statement and does not conform with the County of Perth official plan. We have a mover and seconder for that, Deputy Mayor Tomkowski, and seconded by Councillor Phelps. Any further questions? All those in favor? Oh, sorry. No,
Mayor
go ahead.
McKenzie, the applicant was aware that we were going to deal with this issue tonight at a public meeting?
I believe.
Through the chair, yes, notice was provided to the applicant, so they're aware of this evening's meeting. Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed, if any? That is carried. Okay, moving on then. The next one is zoning application 14, 2025, Parkwood Developments. And we have Jeff Bannon, I believe, with us to deal with this particular application.
Thank you, Mayor McKenzie and Council. While presenting the draft plan of subdivision WP 25-02 and zone change 14-2025 tonight for the lands located on the west side of Kenton Street, and they are located between the rail line and French Street. Property is designated as neighborhood in the county official plan and is zoned future development in the West Perth zoning bylaw. The subject lands are located in the service settlement area in Mitchell. The application to rezone the subject lands is proposing to amend the Perth zoning bylaw from future development zone FD to a Mitchell medium density zone 3 R3 zone to allow for the construction of 15 semi-detached dwellings. Block 31 on the plan of subdivision is being proposed to be rezoned to a special institutional zone, which would establish a stormwater management pond. And the zoning application is requested to facilitate the draft plan of subdivision. The draft plan of subdivision is comprised of 30 lots that will allow for 15 semi-detached dwellings. That stormwater management block, a temporary easement for a temporary turning circle at the north end of the property, which is to be approximately 15 meters wide, and a new local road. The subject lands are currently vacant of any structures, and there are approximately 1.7 hectares in total lot area. There is an existing municipal-owned road stub north of Block 31 that is intended for access for the future development to the west. The proposed plan of subdivision is considered to be appropriate for road connectivity and development lots and lots that can accommodate future residential development compatible with the surrounding area and the planned land uses in the area. Technical matters include grading, drainage, servicing, stormwater management, and landscaping. They will be addressed through the draft plan of subdivision approval process, the detailed engineering design, and any future site plan and development approvals that may be required. So staff are of the opinion that the draft plan of subdivision application and zoning bylaw amendment is consistent with the provincial planning statement. It conforms with the county official plan and maintains the intent of the municipality of West Perth zoning bylaw. And I'm available to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you. Hugh, would you like to make further comments if you wish?
Thank you, Mayor McKenzie, members of council, staff, ladies and gentlemen. I have a short presentation that I'd like to make this evening on behalf of Parkwood. So again, thank you for the opportunity to introduce this subdivision this evening. My name is Hugh Handy, and I'm a land use planner and vice president with GSP Group. And I'm here this evening on behalf of Parkwood Developments, who is our client. The zoning bylaw amendment relates to plan of subdivision as Mr. Bannon has indicated. And this is proposed on the west side of Mitchell. The site is on currently the sort of the boundary of the developed area. Mitchell Woods subdivision would be to the east. And this is a subdivision that would open up through the development of Vivian to in a north-south direction. The area in question is about 1.75 or about a little over 4 acres. And it lies between Frank Street and the Exeter Railway to the north. So I flipped this graphic on its side just to show on the screen. So Frank Street is on the left, the Goderich Exeter Railway on the right, Vivian would be at the bottom and coming through. Clayton is in the middle, and that was referenced by Mr. Bannon in his presentation. That would be a future road allowance to the west. The stormwater management block is next to that. That's block 31 that Mr. Bannon was referencing. And then you would have 16 lots that would be on the left side of the diagram and 14 semi-detached on the other. There is a temporary turning circle that would be on the right side of this graphic and an easement that would be related to that as well. These are some design inspirations for the homes of Parkwood Development. Detailed plans have not been developed yet, but the idea would be to have porches where appropriate, pitched roofs, mix of brick, stone, siding, and some driveways may be paired and some may be apart from each other to provide a mix, but to provide continuity along this stretch of the future Vivian Street. County of West Perth has indicated or in their plan is part of the neighborhood. So this is an anticipated area for development within Mitchell and within West Perth. The zoning bylaw amendment before you this evening then would relate, and I'll just kind of go through from top to bottom. As Mr. Bannon had indicated, this is a future development area. So that's essentially your holding area until a zone or an application comes forward. The yellow at the top relates to a 30-meter setback from the railway, which is part of the comments that we would need to keep that first dwelling that distance away. So that's on lot 1, yellow at the top of the screen. The green areas then would become part of your R3 zone, standard zone, which permits the semi-detached dwellings. And then the blue area is the related to your stormwater management area, and that would go into an institutional zone. We've completed a number of technical studies and worked with your staff in bringing this application. There's been a noise and vibration study that's done in relation to the railway. There's been an archaeological assessment. There's been a functional servicing report and a D4 study related to a former landfill site north of the property and a planning justification report. All of those studies have led to the culmination of this public meeting tonight and bringing forward the zoning bylaw amendment. Of course, it's a two-step process where the subdivision is being considered tonight, but in relation to the zoning that it would need to come back for a future bylaw to this council. So we've looked at the staff report this evening. We're supportive of the recommendations before you and the conditions of approval. And we look forward to having any questions that I might be able to answer. And if we can't answer this evening, I venture to get that from our client or consulting team. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Handy. Okay, at this time, I will ask if there's any Anybody in the audience wishing to speak in support of this application? Is there anybody opposed to this application? Okay, and is there any general questions or questions from council with regards to this application? Councillor Phelps.
Just a clarification. So Vivian will have a railway crossing there?
So the north of this will be where the rail crossing is. Yeah. The Vian goes straight through to the highway and then down to Frank.
Any other questions? No? Okay. Then I would like to thank everyone for their comments. Should council proceed with the adoption of the zoning bylaw amendments, the notice of passing will be provided as prescribed by the Planning Act and a 20-day appeal period to the Ontario Land Tribunal. We'll now close the public meeting at 8:27. And going back to our agenda again, we do have a recommendation. And it is that the Council of the Municipality of West Perth approve in principle zoning 14-2025 affecting lands legally described as Plan 341, Part Lots 71 and 74, and direct staff to include the amending bylaw at a subsequent council meeting once subdivision file WP 2502 has been approved. We have a mover and seconder for that. Councillor Phelps, Councillor Murray. Last call for questions. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That is carried. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, moving on then, a number of items on the consent agenda are there. I believe there's 10 items. Is there anything there that anybody had questions on or would like dealt with separately or just be clarified? Councillor Foster.
I was wondering if the clerk's department had any concerns related to Peterborough's letter in 6.1 on the accuracy of voter rolls, or if they had anything on that.
Through the chair, no concerns with respect to the letter. No. I guess I can comment a little bit briefly. So for 2026, the voters list is changing for the municipal election. That's a significant change. What I mean by that is the source of the information for our locals voters list has always traditionally come from the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation, and that's changing. We are now in 2026 for the first time getting voters list information from Elections Ontario, which is the provincial voters list register. So the same information or register list that is used at the provincial level is the information we'll get. Hopefully, we, of course, as clerks, hope that that's an even better source of information and complete voter information as we go ahead, but it will be the first time that we all go ahead with it. So we'll see how things go as we get into October. Hopefully that helps a little bit.
Go ahead.
Mayor McKenzie, would it be appropriate time to ask a follow-up question for that? Yeah. So if we're using the Ontario election list and previously used MPAC, would that not facilitate a bunch of voters dropping off the list that owned property in West Perth that were on the list with MPAC, but their Ontario voter spot is in another municipality? So will that create a hassle for landowners here that don't reside here?
That's a really good question. It's probably down to my explanation is I'll say MPAC was previously responsible for giving the information to us for that list or producing that preliminary voters list. However, the sources they use to get that information are some of the same sources Elections Ontario is using. So to answer your question directly, no, we shouldn't see a change. Elections Ontario purports that they have more data sources than the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation had. So they should have the same sources, the same information MPAC had, and more information in theory. So really good question. Oh, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, then a recommendation here that the Council of Municipality of West Perth accept the consent items 6.1 to 610 for information and the minutes of the June 15th, 2026 regular meeting be adopted. Mover and seconder for that, Councillor O'Donnell, Councillor Fournier. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That is carried. All right, agenda item number 7, the planning department. We have Parkwood Development, part lot 7174. We've done that one. Sorry. Right? No.
Through the chair, no, you've dealt with
No,
the
we dealt-
zoning portion of that, and now you're dealing with the subdivision
Right,
recommendation.
okay, so Jeff,
For that property. Thank you.
any further information with regards to that?
I don't have any further information to add. I'm available to answer any other questions that you might have, but you'd be making a recommendation to county council on the plan of subdivision tonight.
Okay, thanks, Jim. So we'll deal with the recommendation and then I'll ask if you have questions and we'll go from there. So the recommendation is the municipality of West Perth that recommends to Perth County Council that the application for draft plan of subdivision WP 2502 submitted by GSP Group on behalf of Parkwood Developments affecting lands described as Plan 341, Part Lots 71 and 74 be approved subject to the conditions listed in the staff report dated July the 13th, 2026. Questions? No? Okay, I'll take a mover. Moved by Councillor Rose and seconded by Councillor Phelps. Last call for questions. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. And then next one is John's part lot control on application 2026 for 789274 Ontario Inc. Located at 155 to 157 Anderson Lane. So John, floor is yours again.
Thank you, Mayor McKenzie and council. I'll try to be quick with this one. Council's seen multiple part lot control applications in this subdivision. This is another one for 155 to 157 Anderson Lane. The red star there. So the R plan identifies the 2 units to be split, lot 1 being part 1 and lot 2 being part 2. Once the exempting bylaws are approved, the R plan showing the lot lines can be completed and registered at the land registry office. The zoning matches with the West Perth zoning bylaw, and construction has begun for both units. We can see the construction beginning through this image here. Staff recommend approval through the delegated approval process, Perth County. I can take any questions.
Okay, thanks, John. I understand that we have Connor Wright online. I don't know, it's just for questions if we have any. So he doesn't have any comments that you're aware of at this time. I see he's there. Any questions?
Hi there, Mr. Mayor. Sorry about that. Yeah, no, nothing to add there. I think John said it all.
Okay, thanks very much. All right, so then we will deal with the recommendation and then I'll ask if there's questions. So the recommendation is the Council Municipality of West Perth approve the application 2026 submitted by Zelinka Preamble Limited on behalf of 789274 Ontario Inc. for the exemption of part lot control on lands legally described as Lot 21 Mitchell in the municipality of West Perth and forwarded to the county for approval, and that the approved bylaw be provided to the municipality of West Perth to the registered on title. We have a mover and seconder for that. Moved by Councillor Chessel, seconded by Councillor Rose. Any questions on this? We've done this a number of times before.
Sorry, can I maybe just point to council that there is delegated authority for these matters? So in this instance, what's happened is there's a semi, it starts as 1 lot. Once the foundation gets poured, we subdivide it into 2 lots. And we only do that once the foundation's been poured, so we know where the line goes. It's easier to do that after than it is to come back and try and pour the foundation on the line. what I'm really after is this does not need to come to council if you don't want it to. So if there is any comments on that process, we'd be happy to have them as well. Sorry, it's not in regards to this specific.
Yeah, no, but, we have, in the past, we've had different ones come, but what Dan is saying, through delegated authority, it doesn't have to come to council. It can be dealt with, by staff. So if you're okay with that, that's what'll happen from now on. We're good? Okay? Now, I have a mover and seconder, so any other questions? No questions? All right, all those in favor of the motion? Opposed, if any? That is carried. Thanks, John. Okay. The next one we've dealt with, so it comes down to 7.2.2, the appointment of municipal livestock evaluators. James?
Well, thank you, and through you, your worship. Yes, so this report is just in respect to appointing a livestock valuer for the purpose of administering the Ontario Wildlife Damage Compensation Program. What that program is a financial reimbursement program, I'll call it, that exists through, which is funded through OMAFA with the province of Ontario. It's for registered farm owners who have livestock such as beef cattle, chickens. Those are two of your most common ones that you'll see, as well as goats coming in for claims. What there is when there is wildlife predation that takes place, most commonly in this area, it's going to be predation in the form of a coyote. So when that takes place, farm owners can contact the municipality, have a valuer assigned who goes out to the location where the incident occurred, collects evidence in the form of an investigation, which is then taking photos and filling out the required forms. They provide that to the municipality and we submit it to the province. Provided everything is within the guidelines of the reimbursement program, that property owner will get some funds back for the costs of the wildlife predation event. All that being said, what this report does is it appoints an individual who can go out and do that livestock valuing. So these incidents can often occur on the weekends or after business hours, so property owners will reach out. There's a time sensitivity component because the investigation has to happen within 72 hours, but usually you want to be out there as quick as you can so that you can see the evidence before it is gone. We do have somebody who's been, municipality's been able to contact, Joe Chafe, who has been willing to put their name forward and help us out with this. Joe is experienced in livestock valuing, is in the agricultural sector and would be a really great fit for this role. So we're grateful for Joe putting his name forward and supporting with us. There is compensation that is given to the valuer. We also have Doug Johnston. You'll note that name on the bylaw. That's an individual who is appointed in the community of North Perth and recently helped us out here in West Perth with an investigation. So we appreciate Doug for that. That's it. I'll leave it there unless there's any questions.
Okay. Questions for the clerk on that? Councillor Foster?
So we borrowed North Perth's evaluator to deal with the complication that arose we had.
Through the chair, that's correct. Yeah, we had a recent claim here in 2026. First time we've had a claim since 2019, maybe off the top of my head. So it's been a few years. So we're able to reach out to North Perth and Doug was able to give us a hand. So we really appreciated that.
We collect money for dog tags and that money goes into a fund, right? Was that not for livestock damage as well? Or am I dreaming?
You're dreaming as far as I know, but the CAO is looking at me, so maybe I'm dreaming.
I guess what I would say at one point it may have, but at least in James' times and my time, it's gone to offset the pound keeper agreement with the SPCA.
Okay. Yeah, that would
who's been here the
explain.
longest.
I think at one time it did years ago. It was used to fund livestock damages. And, that's before we had coyotes, maybe. I don't know. Okay. So the recommendation that I have here, if there's no further questions, is the Municipality of West Perth approve the appointment of livestock evaluators for the purpose of conducting investigations under the Ontario Wildlife Damage Compensation Program, and the council proceed with the enactment of a corresponding appointment bylaw as included in the bylaw section of this agenda. Mover and seconder for that, please. Deputy Mayor Trunkowski, Clerk Foster? Last call for questions. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Did I say clerk? Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, how about that, eh? Counselor Foster. Okay, next item is the procedural bylaw update.
Thank you, and through you, your worship. Yeah, this report for you this evening is in regards to a proposed update to our procedural bylaw. So by way a bit of a history, our municipality's current procedural bylaw came into play in 2020. We amended it in 2025. Over the past few years, there's been some legislative changes to the council meeting environment in Ontario. I'd say a lot of this probably stemmed from the pandemic. It really challenged us to look at how we meet and the form of our meetings and make adjustments to that. And some of that has stuck around, I think, mainly for the positive. With that, I think, you know, one of the things that this bylaw tries to do is make sure our meetings are productive. It already did that. So what we're proposing isn't really a fundamental change on how council currently does its meetings. What we've really done is reorganized a few elements. We've worked on some of our language. We've tried to make it into a document that's usable and meets our legislative requirements. It does address some of the pieces around electronic meetings, which was new for everybody in 2020, but is not new now. We do have provisions that allow members of council to participate electronically in a council meeting. And so this bylaw clarifies some of that. It's rooted in best practices across the sector. I think we've done a lot of homework to understand what works well in meetings and what doesn't. Talk to our colleague clerks out there and understand what's working good in their bylaws and try to bring that into ours. I think we're in a pretty good place with it. So we're really happy as staff to recommend approval and here to take any questions you might have.
Okay, any questions for James on that? Okay, if not, we have a recommendation here that the Council Municipality of West Perth proceed with the enactment of the procedural bylaw 46, 2026 as indicated or is included in the bylaw section of the agenda. Got a mover and seconder for that, please? Moved by Councillor Vink, seconded by Councillor Fournier. Any questions? Last call? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed, if any? That is carried. And the next is, James has got a lot of stuff here tonight. The next is proposed 2026 council orientation and special meeting schedule.
Through the chair, thank you so much. So the purpose of this report is just that, just to provide an overview of some proposed additional meeting dates that we're recommending for orientation and special meeting purposes. The timing of this report might feel a little bit funny for everyone, but I'll remind that the new council is going to start on November 16th. That means that we've got to think ahead here a little bit as to what our schedule looks like beyond that. The final meeting for this council is scheduled for October 5th. So what we've got in the appendix is just a breakdown that outlines our current approved council meeting schedule, as well as some additional special meetings that you'll see on there. And if you really want to focus in the area that we're talking about is November 18th, which is Perth Municipal Day and County Orientation Day. We don't control that here at this table. Sorry, that date is fixed. November 23rd and November 25th are dates, though, that we are recommending to earmark, I'll call it, for council orientation. Additionally, I think I've captured it there. I think that's about it. You'll see the rest of the scheduled dates within there as we come into December, which are December 7th and December 21st that are on the books. So make for a busy time in that November-December stretch. We wanted to bring this to you guys for your information, start making folks aware of what the schedule might look like, and task for your approval of the additional special meeting dates. I'll leave it there unless there's any questions.
Councillor Vink.
Mayor McKenzie, in the clerk's report, he noted the last meeting of this term of council, but then also on the picture of the report, there was a meeting in November, on November the second, yes. And so I just wasn't clear whether that meeting is still going to exist as part of this council term or wouldn't exist as this part of the council term.
Thank you through the chair for asking for that clarification. That's an error on my part. The final meeting of this term is November 2nd. you've got that correct. That's earmarked and on the books here. And that makes a little more sense when we're talking because our election is October 26th. So election takes place, the final meeting of this council is November 2nd. Then the new term starts with that inaugural meeting on November 16th. So I misspoke. Yes, you still have an October 5th meeting, but that is not the last meeting of this council. Thanks for asking.
Any other questions? Okay. Then recommendation that we have here is that Municipality of West Perth approves the revisions to the 2026 council and committee meeting schedule as showing in Appendix A of this attached report. We have a mover and seconder for that. Councillor Rose, seconded by Councillor O'Donnell. Last call for questions. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Let's just do that again. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Okay, next report is from the fire chief, and we do have Chief Hunter with us tonight.
Thanks, Mayor and Council. The report before Council tonight is just requesting authorization to execute an updated tier response memorandum of understanding with Perth County Paramedic Services. Tier response agreements establish the circumstances under which firefighters are dispatched to assist paramedic services during medical emergencies, where our response provides a clinical or operational benefit. Starting this November, the province is implementing this new medical priority dispatch system we call it MPDS. And because of that, we have to update our agreement. The current agreement is based on a document called a dispatch priority call index. So over the last several months, we've been working collaboratively with Perth County Paramedic Services to develop a new response plan matrix that converts our existing dispatch criteria into this new MPDS format. And the most important thing for council is we're maintaining the level of service that was previously approved by council. The types of calls we currently respond to include cardiac arrest where EMS is delayed, motor vehicle collisions, farm, industrial accidents, unconscious patients where EMS delayed, all that stays the same. There are no financial implications associated with this updated agreement. We're actually hoping that with the new MPDS, because they ask a lot more questions when they're initially taking the call, that it will actually reduce the unnecessary calls that we get dispatched to, and we would respond to calls where obviously our resources are being used. And I'll gladly answer any questions.
Okay, thanks, Chief Hunter. Questions with regards to this? Don't see any hands going up, so we do have a recommendation here that Council of the Municipality of West Perth approves the revisions to the 2020, no, one more. That the Council of the Municipality of West Perth authorizes the mayor and clerk to execute the tiered response memorandum of understanding between Perth County Paramedic Services and the West Perth Fire Department. Moved by Councillor Phelps, seconded by Councillor Duck. Questions? Last call. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Thanks, Bill. The next is Director of Operations with regards to capital asphalt policies.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor McKenzie. This report is requesting council approval to use available OSIF funding to cover additional costs incurred with our two 2026 asphalt resurfacing projects. So the additional costs are a result of two factors. There was a significant increase in asphalt cement price and higher than estimated material quantities required during construction. So when the tenders were issued in March of 26, the AC index was sitting at $1,067 a ton, and it had been there since November of 25.
By the time our paving had occurred, it had increased to $1,530 per ton. So roughly we saw about a 43% increase. The increase was well beyond our 5% contractual deadband, and it triggered the AC adjustment provisions included in our contract. So AC is a petroleum-based commodity that fluctuates with the markets, much like fuel. And the material quantities are always estimated prior to the work beginning, but once the construction starts, those estimations can obviously change with actual roadway conditions requiring additional material in order to achieve proper grades, ride quality, drainage, and compliance with specifications. So staff have reviewed the available funding sources and determined that OSIF is the most appropriate option. So there is $488,242.28 of uncommitted OSIF funding available to us. So using the OSIF funds to cover the $301,682.75 would then leave us with $168,559.53 remaining. And most importantly, it would not impact our municipal tax levy. So staff believe that the projects were tendered appropriately based on the information available to us at that time. The cost increases resulted from extraordinary market conditions and normal construction quantity adjustments. So staff therefore recommend the approval of the proposed OSIF funding allocation. And I'd be happy to take any questions.
Okay, thanks, Adam. Any questions for Adam on that? I guess just a clarification. So had we, and I think if I remember, we tendered this in maybe February, was it, when we tendered this?
Yes.
Early? So if we hadn't have changed it or added anything, would the price still have changed when it came time to put it on?
Yes, the AC index still would have changed, yeah.
So what advantage is it to tender early?
To get your, through you, Mayor McKenzie, ultimately is to get your work done within the budget year. A lot of municipalities that tender later, they tend to not see that construction get done till possibly wintertime or even get pushed off another year. So really it's almost a race between municipalities to try to get your tender out as early as possible to get the work done in that time frame that you want completed.
So if we had waited and tendered it, chances are we would have paid probably what we paid now.
Absolutely.
And it may not have happened at all. So there's still an advantage to tendering it early, even though you can't lock the price in.
Absolutely. And through you, Mayor McKenzie, it's similar to fuel prices and that index. It's, you know, without the crystal ball, you're taking a shot, right? So we're throwing out our estimate and we're hoping that we fall within that range. You can try to make adjustments in your estimates, but then you're either, you know, maybe you're not getting enough work done that you could have, or, you know, you're hitting over. So
no, fair enough. Fair enough. Councillor Duck.
Just a question, because I wouldn't have known that before. When does, like, so we obviously put out the tender, we get the pricing. When does it actually become like a contractual, like legal binding agreement or whatnot? And then my kind of second question, not related to the first question, is there any other projects or anything like that where this might come into, you know, we see another report here down the road from you that we're considering, you know, another couple $100,000 or anything like that? Just so we're kind of prepared for it, I guess.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So through you, Mayor McKenzie. So once we agree to the tender, it gets signed by both parties and it's basically done, you know, a week after the bids come in. As for additional projects, these were the only two significant asphalt projects on the books for this year. So that would really be it from us there.
Okay, good. So I'm kind of keeping a running tab on our trial of the yellow line down the middle of the road. And we're running about 50-50. People either like it or they don't like it, one or the other. But I did have a comment from a person that's involved with a lot of truck traffic. And he said what he's noticed is that when they're meeting traffic now, especially on a knoll, before you maybe wouldn't see a car coming and it would be over on the road, but now with the yellow line, those vehicles stay on that side of the road. So for big trucks, it's a little more reassuring. So that was his comment. But
Yeah, and through you, Mayor McKenzie, we're hearing the same kind of those mixed reviews, and we're also keeping tabs on that speed radar sign that we have out there as well to see if we see any fluctuations in speeds over the next few months here. So,
but it's certainly got the repairs talking there.
Mhm.
That's for sure. Okay, we do have a recommendation here. And it is that the Council Municipality of West Perth approve the use of available Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund, OCIF, funding to finance the additional asphalt project costs of $301,682.75. We have a mover for that. Councillor Duck, seconded by Councillor Rose. Questions? All in favor? Opposed? If any, that's carried. All right,
Mayor
the,
McKenzie, may I ask a question of the director?
Yes.
I was wondering if he could provide a brief verbal update on the road closures and road maintenance around Russellvale and how that is going for the municipality. Would that be
how
appropriate?
much time do you have? Go ahead, Adam.
through you, Mayor McKenzie. So I'd be honest, I'd say it was a bit of a rough start. A lot of confusion around the detour, as well as a lot of, I would say, gravel road network roads being used for detours that was not anticipated. We've had several discussions with the MTO and the traffic contractor on site. We've made some adjustments to their signage, and we have added several of our own. Obviously, we put up a few road closed, local traffic only signs to deter traffic from hitting some of our gravel road networks. We did do a repair last week to line 16 because it was taking quite a bit of punishment from the additional traffic. But the repairs went well, and we feel that we are in a better spot since we've made some adjustments with the signage to be in a better spot moving forward anyways.
Deputy Mayor, sorry.
Thank you, Your Worship. I guess supplemental to Councillor Vink's question and the response, given that the municipalities incurred costs for line 16, does the municipality have any recourse through the MTO to recover those repair costs, given that this is due to their project?
Yep, and through you, Mayor McKenzie, that is on our mind, and we've started those discussions with them. We've been tracking any time that we've been spending on the project additionally to kind of have in our back pocket when we get to that point of sitting down with them. So,
thank you.
I might just add, Mayor McKenzie, that once Google Maps and Apple Maps stopped recommending those roads because we finally got posted into their tools that those were closed. Now I see a lot more traffic on 180 as an example, taking that detour versus actually carrying on straight through on line 20 and then trying to find a way.
Well, I know in some cases before, this even happened, but we had the road closed sign in Fullerton. And it basically was across half the road. People were going around that and going over the lawn, like just because GPS told them they had to go straight through, I think is what it was, So, yeah. Councillor Foster had a question. Didn't you have your hand up? Oh,
After Canada Day was rough on line 16, on 161, on line 18. I can't speak for the other side of line 16 and for 170, the boundary between Fullerton and Hibbert that got closed. But after Wednesday destroyed the road, and then Thursday and Friday, once the road closed signs went up, there was still, I'm going to say, half the traffic still tried to go around them or into them or through them. And by now, though, it's maybe the road line 16 itself, the paved portion's maybe 10% busier than normal. It's really died off. They're not routing down that side road anymore to any major extent.
well, it takes time. I guess there's a couple other comments I could say, but I won't. Okay, thanks, Adam.
thank you.
Next item is regards to upgrades at the OPP station. So Nick, you've got the floor for that.
Thank you, Mayor McKenzie and council. This report is requesting council approval to reallocate $6,665 and change within the existing OPP station capital project, asset replacement upgrades to fund a completed washroom and shower renovation project at the OPP station. The washroom and shower renovation was identified as an operational need through discussions with OPP and the growing amount of officers in that location. This project was originally intended to be funded through the OPP Prevention Auto Theft Grant, but was later determined to be did not meet what was needed for that grant. The proper reallocation will come from the existing unit heater replacement allocation that we have within that project. Domestic water heater is also within that project, which is at the top of our list to replace within that building. The unit heater replacements are at a cost of $8,880 at this time. This adjustment does not require any additional funding from anywhere. It does not impact the overall approved project budget and does not require any reserve funding. The domestic water heater, as mentioned, remains our priority within that building in this project and should come in lower, as we've already replaced one water heater within another building, and it came in considerably lower of what was budgeted. So at this time, staff recommend the approval of the funding to reallocate formally aligned with the completed washroom and shower renovation within the appropriate capital funding source. I am available to take any questions if there are any.
Okay, thanks, Nick. Questions for Nick? Councillor Rose.
I gather the domestic water heater isn't the same as just the water heater I have in my house, correct?
Through you, Mayor McKenzie, yes, it's a little, well, I shouldn't say that per se. It isn't as big as it probably should be within that type of building with the amount of people that are in that building. So it might be very close to a residential water heater. The replacement will not be.
Because I just replaced my water heater and it wasn't quite that much.
I guess, in reading the report, I don't know if it was this report or one of the other ones, the number of people working out of that office surprised me. I think the total number was 20, which is quite a few people, working out of that little PUC building that we had. So it does get a lot of use and it gives us a lot of, visibility of OPP, to say the least. Any other questions on this? Okay. Recommendation is the municipality of West Perth approve the reallocation of $6,665.28 from the OPP station project, REC 0007, asset replacement and upgrades to the completed washroom and shower renovation project at the OPP station in Mitchell. We have a mover and second of that. Councillor Phelps moves, seconder, Councillor Duck. Questions? All in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Next one is yours as well, Nick. So the special event permit application with West Perth Village.
Yes, through you, Mayor McKenzie, this report is requesting council to approve the special event permit for the West Perth Village tailgate music event under the special event bylaw 34-2026. Because this event is expected to attract more than 2,500 people over the 2 days period. Council is the approval authority under this bylaw with that amount of people for an event. This application was circulated to our special event advisory team, which includes fire, OPP, paramedic services, public health, the AGCO, and municipal staff. During the review, fire services did point out that we may not have enough emergency exit points within Diamond C. So they did revamp their their plan for Diamond C and fix up what was needed for the exits. And once revised and circulated back through SEAT, there was no further comments that were received. Staff are satisfied with all the requirements of this special event permit bylaw and they have met all the appropriate public safety and emergency access measures that are in place. There are no financial impacts to the municipality, and the event related costs remain the responsibility of the organizer. Based on the completed review, staff recommend that council approve the issuance of the special event permit for the Tailgate Music Festival.
Okay, thanks, Nick. I think this is the first one that we've had. And we'll likely get another one, I'm assuming maybe for the mayor or for the fair, but we had dealt with this earlier as to the process that it would take. So recommendation is that the municipality of West Perth approve the issuance of a special event permit to the West Perth Village for the Tailgate Music Festival in accordance with the municipality's special event permit bylaw. We have a mover and seconder for that. Councillor Rose, seconded by Councillor O'Donnell. Questions? All those in favor? Opposed? If any, that's carried. So thanks, Nick.
Thanks very much.
And the next item is Wendy's report on reserve and reserve fund year-end report. So Wendy, the floor is yours.
So the report before you, the purpose of it is to give you the update and then to provide some context to where we're going with the reserve policy and where we're at with it. So in the report, we talk about the opening balances, the activity within each of the classification, your reserves, your reserve funds, your obligatory deferred reserve funds, land inventory held for resale, and your equity and government business enterprise. And so you can tell from the chart, our cash has increased. That primarily is due to your interest earned in 2025 and your carry forward projects. And then as far as the policy, the last time it was updated was in 2019. Staff have been gathering information and kind of putting together a framework for the policy. And so we're almost there, but we've retained Watson's to help us get it across the finish line. And just in structuring your reserves or reserve funds and your obligatories, we just wanted to get some experts involved in that process. And right now they're laying out the framework to bring it to you. So hopefully by the end of the year, we'll be able to have this policy in front of you. So if there's any questions on the report, I'd be happy to take them.
Okay, thanks, Wendy. Questions, Councillor Vink?
Mayor McKenzie, through you to Wendy. Would the policy that you're working on now also be tied together with the asset management plan and how maybe we'll work toward a decision on funding future assets? Is that all going to be part and parcel of the same plan, or would it be a separate plan?
I think the framework will be there. And I think, so in looking at some of the modeling, it's going to be hard until we kind of get the momentum going between all the financial plans and the reserves working cohesively. So part of restructuring, if you're going to have asset management reserves, they would actually be reserve funds and they would be kind of laid out in a model. And then so that way, you know, if you have 10 assets, the funds in there are going to replace those 10 assets. So some of that work still needs to get done. This will just create a policy and a framework for it. And then future would kind of cement it all together, if that helps. We're not quite there, but we're almost there.
Other questions? No? Okay. So the recommendation that we have is that the Council Municipality of West Perth receives the 2025 Reserve and Reserve Fund Report for information. We have a mover and seconder for that. Moved by Councillor Vink, seconded by Deputy Mayor Trinkowski. All those in favor? Opposed? If any, that's carried. Thanks, Wendy. All right, the next one is Dan with regards to playground equipment in the Memorial Forest.
Thank you, Your Worship, and good evening, Council. Before you tonight is a report looking for some feedback, I'll say, on playground design and perhaps budget for said playground. The background of this is that we have our Recreation and Trails Master Plan, which sets in place a target of approximately having a playground within 800 meters of residents across the municipality. In the master plan, it specifically identified that the southwest quadrant of Mitchell being one of the top priorities that was due for a playground. And you can see that attached to the report with the 3 red circles there, where there really is no playground on that specific quadrant. It's probably maybe folklore in my time, but the Wiffle Ball Park was always identified as the next site for a playground in Mitchell. And I'll note that we did not include a playground in the capital budget as well at this time. Staff were approached with a potential sponsorship opportunity for a new playground in this area of town. Through doing some analysis on vacant land in the municipality, we did identify that the Memorial Forest likely is a better candidate for the area of the park. 2 reasons for that is, one, in our master plan, there are some targets and sites, things set out for what a park and playground should be, a cohesive type park, much like Ketterson, I'll say. And maybe certainly some of the feedback in that master plan identified that a lack of trees were one of the main concerns in our playground areas. Additionally, if we can scroll down one more, you'll see, on the left is what 800 meters looks like around that Nelson Park site. And what I'll point out is it's hard to see from here, but the yellow hash dotted line is your urban settlement boundary. It's certainly far away, but at some point, we'll need another playground to satisfy the full expansion of the settlement boundary. If you look on the map to the right, the Memorial Forest site location really does quite better job of satisfying both current and future needs for the municipality. And as you recall from the previous slide, the other 3 quadrants in Mitchell were satisfied as well. So we've gone through some processes here, and we did want to try and identify a playground that fit the nature around Memorial Forest. And what I'll say is, when you get into ones that look quite similar to trees or branches and wood, they are glass reinforced concrete, largely sourced from the US, and the price tag goes up quite substantially. So we wanted to bring this design there, which we felt was good, kind of fit the area a little bit, and I'll say was quite in line with maybe the sponsorship we identified as well. So seemed like some good value there. If we can scroll down and show that type of playground. So that's what we're after tonight, is your feedback on this. And if we want to go bigger, I'd say we'd be looking for maybe a number from council. We do have quite a bit, as noted in the report, in both our development charges capacity and our parkland reserves. Both of these we can be used towards the playground and towards development of the site for a new playground as well. We wouldn't be looking for, I'd say, a large increase, or if council goes that way, then we'd probably want to come back with another report and some caution, because we do have quite a bit of things maybe in plan for the future for the DCs in both parkland reserves as well. But at that point, I'll stop and take any feedback from council at this time.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Questions for Dan with regards to that? Councillor Duck?
Thanks for the report, CAO Hobson. Certainly a beautiful looking park setup. I don't disagree with that. My only question, I think, in previous discussions, we've maybe talked about going more of a natural environmentally looking. I'm not sure of the word I want to use here, but I think everyone can maybe knows what I'm talking about. Was this sponsorship kind of contingent on maybe doing a park similar to this, or is that something we're still maybe looking at for the next development? I just kind of maybe wanted to get some staff feedback or thoughts on that. So thank you.
No, I'd say there's no restrictions in the sponsorship at this point. I mean, I'll note we're still actively negotiating, but you know, they're aware that I'm here tonight, obviously, so we're pretty comfortable with the number. But as far as design feature, I think that's up to council. Again, what I'd say, this is, you know, the amounts we were looking at, this was a pretty good deal for us. And if we want to go bigger or go more natural theme, I'd probably specifically on the natural theme, I'd be prepared to see a double budget yeah.
That's for the park structure and all the setup itself, or is there something else that I'm missing maybe?
No, the budget we're proposing is delivery and installation of this, and I've noted that we'd look for some there'd be some additional budget for some stone dust trails and you know, benches and things like that to build it out. But if we were to look for you know, playground equipment that resembles, you know, kind of fallen trees and a climbing type of thing with a slide, I'd say I'd expect double budget on it. We can certainly bring it back and get the quotes for you if you want to see.
I mean, I think if it's double the budget, we probably don't want to go down that road. No, I'd be curious to know the number if it's significantly higher, but I don't think I want staff to waste too much time on it. But no, thank you for the insight. I do appreciate that. I would have certainly never guessed that. So thank you.
Councillor Foster?
I think it looks lovely, and I'd rather we be able to put twice as much stuff up for the same budget than slightly nicer looking stuff. The kids would rather play with stuff than look at it. It's gonna get wore down from play. I don't suppose it's really gonna matter if it looks like a playground or like a tree playground to the users.
Okay. Anybody else? Oh, Councillor O'Donnell?
Through the mayor, thanks for the proposal, CAO. Is anything additional required, like power for lights in the park, or is it just gonna be like a dark at night, like for security purposes?
I don't think we've contemplated lights at this point. I wouldn't be confident right now to say that we have lights in all of our playgrounds either, but we can look at that. Yeah, I hadn't contemplated that at this time, but
Good question, Phil. Deputy Mayor?
Counselor, thank you, your worship, through you. I think Counselor O'Donnell raises a good point. Just visibility at night, just for the safety of people using the park, but we've also had a lot of, unfortunately, history of vandalism and uses of the park that lead to damage or other things. So I think it's a valid point that he raises. Also, security cameras. If we see a need for security cameras in this park area as well. And then I realize this is in the memorial forest and trees provide shade, but just wonder if there's any consideration of a smaller structure that provides shade for the users as well.
we can certainly look to all of those items. That's kind of why we're here, was to get your feedback on the park as a whole and the playground equipment as well. So certainly can look to bring that back to council and finalize budget, etc.
Councillor Duck?
Just one more, and I'll keep it quick. Is there any opportunity to add some sort of disability structure or some sort of playground for kids that maybe have some impairments when we're building a new park? I think it's something we should always keep and consider. Just when we're putting in new structures, that way there's something for everybody that may require any sort of special assistance or anything like that.
That's yeah, you raise a good point. Certainly right now, the Lions Park is where we have that equipment there. But no, it's possibly something that we can have a chat with maybe one of the service clubs to see if they'd be willing to help on that. No, I know, no. Yep. No, good point. Councillor Rose.
I was just going to ask a question about the lighting of this proposed playground. Would not the lighting bring people out at night to be there when we really don't really want them there at night? Like, I understand for the security, I get that. But on the flip side, if it's dark, maybe those, I know it doesn't always work, but they might stay away where if you have lights, they'll think, well, why not go, you know?
I can quickly offer a comment to that, and I think, you know, I don't want to assume this counselor, but we do have a season where it gets dark pretty early in the night. So I think making sure that, you know, you've got a playground and a park that's accessible kind of all year round is really our goal here as we move forward. So I think, yeah, you could drive traffic to it. But ideally, when you drive traffic, you're driving the right type of traffic to the park or to the playground at the nighttime hours through the lights. That would prevent the traffic that you don't want or the actions that you don't want to happen there. So I think twofold to why there could or should be lights.
Might not be the people there that we want there. And I don't get me wrong, I think that's a good idea to have the security. I guess as a parent, when it was dark, I expected my kids to be home. I didn't want them out and about. But I'm old, that's just me.
I think, you know, we did utilize the OPP as well with regards to the Lions Park, and they came up with some suggestions for lighting and security cameras and where to put them. So that's maybe something that we could tap into for this as well, to get some input from them. Councillor Phelps.
Where in the blue circles, when you show that, I'm just kind of losing the streets here, but whereabouts will the playground be in that Memorial Forest? Or do you have that identified? Did I miss it?
It's not,
or can you just
it's not perfectly identified, but there's the two, I guess it's 3 green parcels. Yeah, kind of,
Okay.
it would be on the northern part of the road allowance. Yeah, so basically where that mouse pointer is we were leaning a little more towards the westerly side, because the trees there aren't as mature, and there's not I think there's in the site there's 3 that are memorialized. So if we are in there, we don't want to move a lot of trees, and particularly those that are memorialized. So we'd be looking to contact the families that are impacted as well.
And just to follow up, like with Dean's suggestion and the power and the pavilion and all that, if we make sure there's enough area that we can just expand into a further budgets, that if we need that stuff, then we can add to it and not all of a sudden have to move a bunch of trees or something, that if we make a master plan that add this and this, that we can do that. So just a thought.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, we do have a recommendation if you're ready for it.
I think at this.
You want to?
Well, I think we'll bring something back. I
Wanna-
think we've got some feedback here.
Okay.
So,
All right.
yeah, I don't know if you need a motion or recommendation.
Well, we have a recommendation here that, you know, well, I'll read the motion, and then if you want to tweak it, we can, but Municipality of West Perth approve the playground design for the new Memorial Forest Playground, and that council directs staff to report back with a sponsorship agreement for their review. So you maybe want to report back with more than just the sponsorship. Just
Yeah, that through the chair, I think staff have heard feedback this evening and want to take direction from you to incorporate this feedback into the final proposal, which would come back before you. Do I have that right? Yeah, okay. Thank you.
So you want a motion to defer this until you come back with a further report? from
Yeah,
staff?
motion that the report be directed back to staff.
Okay.
Based on the feedback received this
Yep.
evening.
Okay, do we have a mover and seconder for that? Deputy Mayor and Councillor Foster? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Thank you. The next one is also Dan's item, the Rural Transit Solutions Fund.
Yeah, a good news story here. So, Executive Coordinator Avery Hawley is she's beating my record with successful grants these days. So I'll give a nod to her, but she was successful in obtaining the Rural Transit Solutions Funds project. So this is specifically a grant application that was applied to through our partnership with some of the service clubs and West Perth Village, sorry, for the replacement of the West Perth transit van. So it's the lesser of, as noted, 248,000 or 80% of the eligible project costs. The total project in this case is $310,000. Essentially what we're needing to do here is just make up the, I'll say the shortfall between the bus and the grant. So there's a contribution of approximately $62,000, and 23 of that will be provided through the municipal reserves, and the balance of that would be through the West Perth Village investment funds. So just as a quick refresher, the asset would be owned by the municipality moving forward as well, as is the current one. So we'll look to sell it. Happy to have any questions.
And there should be some revenue achieved when we sell. I know we don't, as a rule, get a lot for them, do we? You can for a used mobility bus.
Yeah, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Right, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
As much work as we've done on that last one, I don't think it's worth a lot.
Yeah, fair enough. Any questions on that? Okay, recommendation that we have is the municipality of West Perth to enter into a funding agreement under the Rural Transit Solutions Fund on behalf of West Perth Village for the purchases to support transit service for West Perth Ontario project, and that the required municipal contribution of approximately 62,000 be funded through a combination of municipal reserve funds of $23,105 and West Perth Village investment funds, and further that council authorize the mayor and clerk to execute the funding agreement and all related documentation required to finalize the funding and implement the project. We have a mover and seconder for that. Moved by Councillor Chessel, seconded by Councillor Duck. All clear, no questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Thank you. Couple items of correspondence. First one is from the Agricultural Society, and this is a standard request each year that we get for that. I don't know if there's anything further to add, but it's just to make a deal with the OGL. What am I trying to think of here?
AGCO.
Yes. So if there's no questions, we'll just go right through here that the Council Municipality of West Perth declare the annual fall fair held by the Mitchell District Ag Society at Ketterson Park on September 4th to 6th, 2026 to be of municipal significance, and advise the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario that it has no objection to it taking place. And then we're going to stop there. So do we have a mover and seconder for that? Councillor Duck, Councillor O'Donnell, all those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. And the second half of that is that the Council Municipality of West Perth approves the request from the Mitchell District Ag Society for a sponsorship in the amount of $3,000 for the 172nd Annual Mitchell Fall Fair. I don't know, staff, if you have any comments on the request. That's a yearly request.
Yeah, yearly standard. We would put it in our advertising and marketing budget.
Okay, any questions on that one? Okay, so, we just need a move and second. I've read the motion. So moved by Councillor Rose, seconded by Councillor Chessel. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. And then, further to that, letter from the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks. Another one from Upper Thames Conservation Authority. Whoop. And Perth County Economic Development and Tourism newsletter. And then Watson and Associates annual treasurer statement update. I don't know if anybody has any questions on those items of correspondence, but if not, the recommendation is that we accept the correspondence as information. We have a mover and seconder for that. Councillor Foster, or did you have a question? Sorry, moving that. Okay. Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Vink. Questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Number of reports, or no number of reports here. Dean, go ahead.
Through you, your worship, just one item to report. June 28th was the North Logan Cemetery Decoration Service. Wanted to thank all the generous donors. Around $2,100 was received as donations towards the cemetery, and wanted to thank Barry and Angela Ward, Steve Smith, Tammy Mackin for organizing the service, and thank you to Reverend Ernie Naylor for officiating, and thanks to staff for their cooperation and assistance for the event. There's around 85 people attended, and everyone was quite pleased with the well-kept cemetery grounds. So thanks to staff for their support and participation.
Hey, thanks, Dean. Anybody else have anything? Councillor Phelps.
July 1st, we did the soapbox and I helped out. Should thank Adam and his crew for getting the hill washed and the barricades and all the work they did that day. Also the volunteers that helped out and the sponsors. It was a great event for the kids. We had 6 crashes right through their bales. It's probably the most crashes we've ever seen in soapbox history. But they're working on their driving skills for next year. So thanks to the Rotary Club and municipality sponsored part of that too. And it was a good day up till 4 o'clock when the storm hit down in the park and everybody scattered.
Oh, thanks. Anybody else have any? Okay. We do have a number of bylaws, 9 to be exact. Bylaw 32 is with regards to the McGraw drain. Bylaw 41 is the one we dealt with tonight, Vanessa Dill drain. Bylaw 42 is a ratings bylaw. Bylaw 43 is a memorandum of understanding for the Perth County Paramedic Services and West Perth Fire. Bylaw 44 is to appoint a livestock valuator. Bylaw 45, part law control exemption on 155, 157 Anderson Lane. Bylaw 46 is our procedural bylaw, and zoning bylaw 324 is with regards to we approved it in principle, so we just do third reading on that one. Is that what we're doing here, James?
That's absolutely correct. Through the chair, it was approved in principle at the May 19th meeting. So this will be the third and final reading we're doing this evening. Thank you.
And zoning bylaw 325 is the one to deal with Pat and Kathy Milady on 7451 line 32. So the recommendation that we have here is that the Council Municipality of West Perth give first and second readings to bylaw 41 through 46 and zoning bylaw 324 and zoning bylaw 325 this 13th day of July. We have a moved by Councillor Rose, seconded by Councillor Phelps. Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. And then third and final reading, that we give third and final reading to bylaw 32, 41, 46, zoning bylaw 324, and zoning bylaw 325, 2026, this 13th day of July. Mover and seconder for third reading on those. Moved by Councillor Foster, seconded by Councillor O'Donnell. Questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any, that's carried. Number of announcements here. I guess the one that probably Lindsay's looking for is July the 15th, and she has the list, I believe, for the Tim Hortons in the morning. I usually do an early car wash, but we also have, I believe we have environmental services that day too, don't we? At 9 o'clock.
Through the chair, we do at 9 a.m. that
Yeah,
day, yes, I anticipated to be less than 1 hour.
Yeah,
We do have the program schedule here for Camp Day
Do ya?
available,
Okay.
so certainly any counselors who might be interested in picking up a shift, I can look at times here following the meeting with you.
yeah, we can look at, we'll look at the sheet then after the council meeting and sign up. How's that sound?
That sounds great. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Okay. The other items there, the Lions barbecue is every Saturday in July, plus they're also selling tickets to their fish fry later on in August. And it's in August the 8th, I guess. I don't know if there's much else there that I need to draw your attention to. Our next regular council meeting will be August the 10th. And then there's the slow pitch tournament is the 14th, and the 17th is West Perth Library on location. And I'm not sure what that involves. Murphy Bus Lines. I'm not sure. Anyways, those are the coming events. Notice of motion. And this has come about through Councillor Fournier with regards to the rural intersection and for traffic control. Do you want me to read it, Andrew, or do you want to read it? I can read it? Okay. So the recommendation here is whereas council has received concerns from residents regarding speeding, traffic volumes, and safety at our rural intersections throughout West Perth, including the intersection of Perth Road 155 and line 26. And whereas a number of rural intersections throughout West Perth have experienced changes to traffic control measures over time, including the removal of stop signs and conversions from four-way stop configurations. And whereas changes to the area road network, including the construction of the roundabout at Highway 23 and Perth Line 20 and traffic control modifications at other nearby intersections may have influenced traffic patterns and volumes of municipal roads. And whereas council recognizes the importance of applying a consistent and evidence-based approach to traffic control measures at rural intersections, therefore be resolved that the council directs staff to undertake a review of rural intersections where stop signs have been removed or traffic control measures have been modified, including the former east-west stop controls at the intersections of Perth Line 26 and Perth Road 155, to assess the rationale for those decisions and identify whether current conditions warrant further considerations. And further, that staff be directed to report back to council on options for establishing a consistent process and policy framework for the review, installation, or removal of stop signs and other traffic control measures at rural intersections within West Perth. Couldn't have said it better myself, Andrew. So that's the motion. Andrew, I'm assuming you're going to move that. Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor, I'm going to take Councillor Foster on this one, I guess. Discussion. Deputy Mayor.
Through you, your worship, just what exactly is the problem we're trying to fix here?
I think we're not going at a particular intersection per se, as we're going to look at the whole municipality again and see if the stop signs are in the right place and the right way. or if there's something that we should be tweaking to do better. Certainly it mentions in there that the roundabout in Russelldale is having maybe an impact and sending some traffic, and Adam has kind of highlighted the issues that we've been having with that. So there is some little tweaks that have been going on that have maybe changed the way traffic is going. But I think it's just to have a look and update what we've got and if there's any tweaks that should be done.
Thank you.
Councillor Phelps.
So does that mean we're doing a traffic study of West Perth on the rural side then? Like we're doing a complete traffic study, or are we picking particular roads, or how are we going to gather the information to see where we need stop signs and don't?
Yeah, thank you, Counselor. At this point, we're probably directing ourselves more towards a tabletop exercise. So we want to take a look at where all the stop signs currently are. We want to make sure that if we are able to identify a pattern or a rationale, I think, preliminary, we've kind of established some roads that are maybe a bit more of a collector in nature in the rural wards. And we just want to make sure that we're being fairly consistent to start. That may bring about substantial changes, that may bring about no changes. We haven't frankly looked at it on that macro level of the municipality as a whole. Really, it's about trying to identify as well from a policy perspective about where and when what deems a stop sign, and just ensuring that we're consistent moving forward. So if we're getting one-off requests or anything, that we're reviewing them and we have that measure, that yardstick for them. So I would say that our first step in this is going to be largely tabletop. And then I don't know where it will go from there, but if we need to do more, we'll certainly come back to council.
Other questions? Oh, sorry, Councillor Bink.
Mayor McKenzie, through you, would that exercise also include speed limits on the rural roads? Because some of our roads have an 80-kilometer-an-hour speed limit, and some of our rural roads have a 70-kilometer-an-hour speed limit. And so the notice kind of alludes to those kinds of measures, but you didn't quite mention that, so I just wanted to ask.
No, and I think that's a good catch. Certainly, I guess when I was speaking of collectors for that aspect is where I was getting into more of that. If we're driving traffic to a certain road, and then how are we controlling that traffic? And obviously we've discussed the lines as well, but speed is a factor as well. So yeah, thank you.
Through you, your worship, the tabletop exercise and other investigation, how long does staff anticipate this will take place before something comes back to council? Is this a few weeks, a few months, or do we have the sense of what the timeline is yet?
I don't know. We're both kind of waiting for the other over here to make a move. I don't. Our first hurdle is really to get a map out and spend the time reviewing it. I don't think it'll necessarily be if. Sorry, I'm very bad at this. I'll maybe say a few months, meaning 1 to 2 months, to review the work, and then certainly try and get back to this term of council. I think is reasonable for us. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I think, when staff get into this, and who they're going to consult, I think obviously they would consult the OPP, possibly maybe the bus companies, and, go from there. So, it's going to take a little bit of work to go with this, but I think we're going about it probably the right way by doing the whole West Perth municipality as opposed to one corner at a time, you know. Okay, if there is nothing else or no other questions, you didn't have a question, did you, Rod? No. There's nothing else. It's been moved and seconded. So all those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Any other business that anybody wants to bring up at this time? Deputy Mayor?
Through you, your worship, one item, I'm just gonna find it here. Yeah, so I just wanted to mention congratulations to Dave Jacob, our local auctioneer. He placed 5th in an international competition at Calgary this past weekend, so just wanted to extend congratulations to a successful result.
Okay, very good. Yeah. 5th on an international scale, so no, he did quite well. Very well. Anything else? All right, our next item then is confirmatory bylaw, if there's nothing else. And bylaw 47 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council municipality of West Perth be read a first and second time this 13th day of July. Mover and seconder for that. Moved by Councillor Foster, seconded by Councillor O'Donnell. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. And bylaw 47 be read a third and finally passed this 13th day of July. Moved by Councillor Rose, seconded by Councillor Vink. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. And finally, a motion to adjourn at 9:48 PM. Councillor Foster, Councillor Phelps, all those in favor? Opposed, if any? We are adjourned.